Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming. I'd like to thank the county commissioners for taking time out of their busy days to be here with us, and I'd like to thank our county manager for being here as well. We have various department heads in the crowd. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you for some of our civic leaders, some church organizations and other leadership groups here. Thank you so much for your time. And most importantly, I thank the members of the public who have given up your precious time to be here with us. It's great to see so many people interested in our county and the inner workings of the fire department. We're here this evening to highlight the amazing year that the fire department has had, and the privilege that we have for serving this community. We're going to cover many topics, including where we've been, where we are now, and where we are going in the future. With 50 years of service behind us, this should be a lot of fun. We've come a long way from the formation of the department back in 1972. The county took over the volunteer fire station in the city of La Crosse first, and then went on to take over the other 4 volunteer organizations that were part of the major cities in our county over the next several years. Chief Madison, as many of you know, was the first fire chief of the department, and he set the stage for that growth and development. He had a battalion chief and a fire marshal as his leadership team, and the support of the county commission as he worked towards that growth. 1 fire truck and 3 chief's cars made up the entire apparatus fleet. Most of the repairs were done by the firefighters in the stations or at local shops if it was beyond their capabilities. The same was true for station maintenance. Those guys many times did the work themselves. Those early leaders had to overcome crippling recessions, angry volunteers who were losing their departments, and city politics as the county slowly took over, and an exceptional rate of growth as the county was the fastest growing in the nation during the 1970s and 1980s. These were trying times, and they were times for strong leaders. This last year was not an easy one for our fire department. We were in a manpower shortage and a hiring crisis. Our recruitment and hiring section sorted through thousands of applications to fill 4 recruit classes of up to 70 persons. Minority recruitment was significantly greater than it had been in the past, including many different cultures, ethnicities, and genders represented. The department continues to train the new firefighters as firefighter EMTs with the stipulation that they must complete paramedic school at a later date. Now, this is different from the requirement, the previous requirement that they complete paramedic school prior to being released to work, which kept them out of the field for over 2 years while they were training. Now, this new program has filled vacant positions until we can catch up enough to complete that training, because we want all of our personnel to be paramedics. There is also a program where personnel can sign up months ahead of time for overtime slots that may be open at any given shift. This makes staffing easier on the chief officers and puts money in the pockets of those who are willing to work. The county has updated its values in this last year to integrity, accountability, equity, inclusivity, and innovation. The fire department has embraced these values and begun training programs for all employees on the theory and functionality of each one. We even have an awards program, so that the awards will be given to those who personify these values as recommended by their superiors and their peers. The Training Academy maintains its accreditation as a paramedic school. This has been an immense undertaking for our Training Academy staff, and we now have a lieutenant's position at the Training Academy whose main job, almost their entire job, is maintaining this accreditation. We're the only department in the state that does this. Having this lieutenant has streamlined all the information and the work being done to keep up the accreditation. It's a requirement that this lieutenant have a master's degree, which qualifies them to be the director over the accreditation process. Over the last 50 years, well, moving on, where we are now. So that's where we were this last year. So where we are right now. Over the last 50 years, the fire department has grown to 31 stations with plans through 36 and a staff of over 1,000 people. We have separate headquarters, resource management, apparatus maintenance buildings. We operate special teams in hazardous materials, swiftwater rescue, trench rescue, high-rise or high-angle rescue, and a mass casualty team. We've come a long way since what we talked about previously. We've come a long way in the last 50 years, and we have plans to continue to grow to better serve the community. We still enjoy great support from our communities that we serve. However, times have changed so that firefighters are being targeted, much like police officers are, only not as often. We have seen issues since the riots of 2021 where fire and EMS are targeted by rioters or gang members to keep us from helping their rivals. I would have never thought when I started with the department 23 years ago that firefighters would be targeted by gangs or in ambush style attacks. It is truly a different time. Due to this, we have increased training in cooperation with the police department and the Department of Homeland Security to keep our personnel safe. We purchased ballistic helmets and bulletproof vests for all field personnel for their protection, and they've been placed on every apparatus. Another issue we've had is national supply chain issues. These have caused problems with our apparatus fleet. Our head of apparatus has had a working replacement plan that kept an influx of new apparatus and a robust reserve fleet. Due to those issues and some unforeseen issues, our reserve fleet has been depleted, and our first out fleet is aging and is having related issues to aging vehicles. Because of that, we've had a few times that we have had to put an engine crew in an SUV with basic equipment just to keep them in service. That basic equipment is so that they can still fight fire. They just don't have the pumping abilities, and they don't have fire hose. And they also have EMS capabilities to handle most events that do not require transport. We've ordered new apparatus, but due to the supply issues and personnel issues at the companies, it takes between 1 and 2 years for a new apparatus to be built and delivered. We've changed our replacement plan so that we are keeping apparatus longer than we used to, so that our reserve fleet can be built back up. We're also looking at buying some stock fire apparatus, because these companies will build apparatus much like auto manufacturers do, where they mass produce a certain type. But these stock units do not have the same setup as our current fleet, so far as being able to do certain hose operations or where the equipment goes in those different compartments. So this will require some extra training on our parts and some diligence. As I mentioned from last year, we had staffing issues, and those issues continue to be a problem as we don't have enough qualified applicants to make it through the process. We're currently short just over 300 personnel. We do have a stringent application and training process due to the nature of our job. And in years past, there were hundreds of applications for a single class of between 20 to 50. Now we have difficulty filling classes, even though the class size has risen as much as 70 at times. Part of the reason is the success of private industry, and part of it has been long-standing good economy, and part of it is that our benefits are no longer better than private industry. They're comparable. Some of this is out of our control, while some of it we can change with the right amount of desire to do so. We do have some challenges that either must be overcome or just lived with until they pass. That has been and will always be the case, so we will stay the course. There will be more information to come and requests to be made of you, our commissioners, very soon. We are also open to any and all suggestions to help overcome these challenges. We don't claim to know everything. So that's where we are. Now let's talk about where we're going. The county has become a favored retirement area for the nation over the last few years. There have been many elder communities built, along with assisted living and nursing homes. This is a great way to increase our tax base while decreasing the amount of services that are needed. The one service that will be the most impacted is the fire department, since we have our own ambulances and we do all of our own medical transports. Understanding this growth is going to continue, we've been making plans not only to build more fire stations, but to potentially build EMS stations as well. We have an ambulance in every fire station as of now, with plans to add a second ambulance to every station in the next 10 years. The EMS stations will be built to house 2 to 3 units or apparatus, and they will start with a single ambulance with the goal of adding a rescue truck to each one. And rescue trucks are simply heavy pickup trucks with 2 personnel that can respond to medical calls or as manpower for fire calls and other related incidents. And later on, another ambulance can be added to these stations if it is needed. We plan to build 4 more fire stations and relocate 4 others within the next 5 years. These will be 3 base stations, which gives us the opportunity to add more apparatus if needed. Station 35 will be a super station with 5 bays. It will house our hazmat, TRT, and high angle rescue teams, along with the division chief. In the next couple of years, we will do another survey to see if we need to add more stations or relocate others above that. There will also be plans made to refurbish current fire stations and update them. We're also looking into different ways to lessen the burden of non-emergency incidents for our EMS personnel. We plan to make political movements in cooperation with other departments in the state to allow paramedics to have more control over who they transport. We will be working with state agencies and insurance companies to charge a copay for every call that generates a patient care report. We're working with local hospitals and our medical director to set up a community medicine program so that citizens can be treated in their homes without being transported. And lastly, we're working on a training program so that hospital personnel better understand pre-hospital medicine to lessen misunderstandings. We have one of the best and most diverse fire departments in the state, and we're on the cutting edge of training and equipment, and our statistics are almost always above average. We have great plans for the future that will allow us to serve each of you at a level beyond your expectations. To do this, we need your support. We need the support and guidance of our commissioners and our county manager. We need a pioneering spirit and open minds as we move towards a future full of new ideas. Our citizens, we need your continued support. We need your communication with the commissioners as you relay your wants and needs. We need your patience as we plan and implement these things. We need you to let us know how we are doing and how we can improve. Also, we need you to talk to your family and your neighbors to get them more involved in our county processes so that we can get the most feedback. We look forward to serving you in any way that you need, and we'd love to see you in normal circumstances, not just in emergencies. We look forward to 50 more years of continued service and more. Thank you.